And just to piggyback a little bit on differences and arguments and whatnot, I wanted to segue a little bit into interracial relationships, and just wanted to clarify two definitions. First, we have racial group, which is a category of people who share physical characteristics such as skin color that members of a society consider socially important. And next is ethnic group, which is a set of people who identify with a common national origin or cultural heritage. And with that a little bit, when I was doing research for the show, I came across the movie Jungle Fever, and just the interracial, relationships that take place there. Right. So we have a short clip that we'd like for you guys to see.
Do you have a problem?
Yes, I do have a problem, to be honest with you. Fake, tired brothers like you coming in here, that's so typical. I can't even believe you brought her stringy hair ass up here to eat.
Oh, let me tell you something. First of all, Miss Al Sharpton, you don't have, it's not your business who I bring in here.
Somewhere else, okay?
It's not your business. You are a waitress. Your job is to wait.
Today's specials are the Maryland crab cakes, Creole shrimp gumbo, and blackened catfish. I suggest you have the blackened catfish.
Well, I suggest you find the manager.
Oh, you want my manager?
I want your manager.
Oh, it's like that, right?
That's the other
right,
mother. I want your manager.
Fine. You get I'll get my manager for you.
You're fired!
You're tired. She's right. Mm-hmm.
Melanie.
Yes.
You have a response to that?
I just thought that was a really interesting movie. I really did. I have an interesting stance on interracial relationships because I'm biracial. My mother is Caucasian and my father is African American. And growing up, I didn't have one side or the other that I could identify with. People from the African American community said, "You're not black enough," and people from the Caucasian community said to me, "You're not white enough." So I kind of identified with Hispanic people, honestly, because of the color of my skin and just because of the way that I look. And so for me, honestly, I don't see color when I see people. I have no preference. Anthony is my second husband. I was married to, my first husband was Hispanic. I have 2 Hispanic children. I have 1 child that's triracial, so when it comes to this kind of stuff, I have no opinion on it. I think people should love one another. I'm a big old hippie, and I see past color to spirit, and I think I see your spirits and not color, and I wish everyone would get to that point where it just didn't have to be about the skin color anymore. And that's my opinion on it.
And now if you take it back probably about 30 or 40 years when we had the civil rights movement, when, it was a big deal to see, a black and a white person together, not even being able to share the same drinking fountain per se. And I know you deal with interracial couples now. Can you give like a little bit of an explanation of, typical couples that you counsel or?
Most of the people that I'm coaching, I deal with a lot of singles, and all of the couples that I'm working with currently and that I have worked with are all of the same race. I've not dealt with very many interracial couples. The singles that I deal with, interestingly enough, when I ask them if they have a preference to race, they say no. Most of them are dating, they'll date across the board. And it's more of a, I would say with the Jewish community, that's where it kind of will say, I won't date outside of my race, I only want to date Jewish people. But people overall are really open to race. That's been my experience. And I mean, I know it's been a difficult thing. I heard the horror stories growing up. My mom and dad had to sneak around in the 60s, and my dad was arrested for dating my mom. I mean, it used to be really, really bad, but that's not been my experience, and I don't have that experience with my clients. But I must say to you, I believe in what I focus on, and what I want in my life experience is what I get. So I don't focus on these things, so I don't experience them. I believe in laws of attraction, I believe in positive focus, and that's how I live my life. So things that are negative in this way and have negative connotation, I do not deal with. They do not come into my life experience ever. My husband currently is African American, and when we first started dating, I felt a little bit of the looks from African American women, like, what is she? What race is she? She's with him, he's a brother, and she, what color is she? That kind of stuff. And I just kind of let it go. I just kind of said, that's not my issue. It's not my problem, and I'm not even going to pay attention to it, and I don't experience it anymore. And that's how I handle it.
And Professor, do you have any scholastic research, any data that would explain what we saw in the film?
Well, not necessarily that little shot in the film, but begin to explain part of this. that old anthropological concept of race and pure races, I think has just about run its course. What we're seeing now is that there are very few. Most people are bi. When I have a family reunion, it's the Rainbow Coalition.
Are we talking about race or sexuality now?
Well,
sorry, I'm giving
sexuality
you a
as
hard
well. I've been trying to be nice and not bring that up. But at the same time, with this, and in terms of dealing with race, it still is an issue in certain areas. Now, when you're in Los Angeles, okay, my godson, who is mixed, my stepdaughter is Asian, my granddaughter is Asian, okay, my two nephews and my two nieces are Hispanic, and so when we get together, every kind of food you can imagine is there, and so it's a great time. But one of the things that I want to point out is that they have been able to overcome some of these, but it doesn't work that way in many places. I remember when I was dating my wife, there was a big discussion in her hometown. What was my ethnicity? And they still discuss it because they still don't know what my ethnicity was.
It's interesting. Melanie, I just want to bring up, since you were talking about acceptance and whatnot, there's Seal and Heidi Klum, Tiger Woods and his wife, Reggie Bush and Kim Kardashian. Would you say that the society as a whole, are we more acceptant to, celebrity couples as far as everyday people?
Absolutely. I think that as a society, we're more tolerant across the board. I mean, young people are just are exposed to one another so much more. So it's not this big secret about how black people live their lives and how white people live their lives and how Hispanic people live their lives. We're all so intermixed that I think that people are very tolerant of couples that are in interracial relationships, and especially celebrities. We're tolerant of everything celebrities do, pretty much.
What we don't see is that whole quiet revolution that has gone on. What group has married out the most? Asian. And we don't see it in terms of this big celebration, but we see it having done across the board. The same thing is happening with the Hispanic community in terms of marrying out. Now, the black-white community, because of just the issues that go back historically, still have those to overcome in certain areas. But by and large, they are being overcome.
Absolutely.
And they will be in the next 5, 10, 15 years, I hope.
I just, and I agree with everything you guys have said. I just don't want us to make this broad brush assumption that racism has now been, kind of dissolved because there's all this interracial marriages and the mixing of the races. I still know a whole bunch of brothers that can't get jobs because of the color of their skin, and a whole bunch of African American people who struggle and still get discriminated against. We've come a long way, i.e. the president, but we still have a long way to go. Just want to make sure we're clear on that.
And that is a perfect way to end the show. I want to thank all three of you for joining us today. Once again, my name is DeJuan, and thank you for watching On Point.